Thokozani. I am Pobadimu, the advocate of Idlozi, and once again I welcome you to the channel and thank you so much for choosing to view my video. Welcome to part 2 of my story, my journey, or rather my spiritual journey. So on the part 1 we touched a bit in terms of the beginning, but we moved. So the situations at home was, kind of bit, offish in terms of spiritually, that they were experiencing a bit of, spiritual attacks here and there. And, we sought to find help. So it was a bit of a contradictory system because Gagogo, they are people that believed in certain things. So I would never ever see that coming, So before all of these things actually happened, I didn't have any whatsoever knowledge of Izangoma because of my background, a Christian background and my Pentecostal background. So esontweni, I remember eskolweni rather receiving rhapsodies of realities. For those of you that know of Christ Embassy, I was a dedicated church member there. So there were rhapsodies of realities, and I remember the books were just scattered at school because our principal was a pastor. So I took as much of those books as I could, not because they were doing something to me spiritually, but as being a black child, you just want to take a lot, and so I took lots of those books. I brought them home, I gave them to my uncles, I gave them to my mom, and at that time they didn't even understand what kind of books were they. So we got to a point whereby life was going about as usual until umamami heard from someone that was not of living distance from them that kunomunye ubaba bathi baba lo uyalapha and he's very good. You bring a chicken, and I think he's about 20 rands consultations or something like that. So my mom, because I was the youngest, my brother could say no to these things, but because of the youngest, so I had to go with my mom. So I remember my mom also recruited my aunts and another uncle, or rather grand uncle that was there, but we made our way to this mkulu. So we made our way to that mkulu, and I was so annoyed, but we had to do what had to be done because izinto beslanga and we weren't seeing a way around life. So we went to this great mkulu, and we got there, and Ejardini, first thing that I remember, there was a long queue outside. It was a Saturday, it was very hot. There was a long queue outside, but Ejardini, when you go inside the yard, there was a mountain of chickens. So I'm not talking about inkukhu eziphilayo, but inkukhu esuke zilethwa abantu, because uthatha inkukhu yakho, so basically they slaughtered the chicken and then they discarded there. So not necessarily discarded, but eyabo, like ishebo sabo. So between you and I don't eat inyama engisebenzi ngayo umuntu, or for whatever case that might be. Isilwane esisuke sithengelwe insebenzo, let it be for that, so when you're going to consume that, I don't know, but abanye abantu. So we got there, and my mom went in for a consultation, and it was a long consultation because we stood in a long queue, and she was told what she was told, and then the bekunomunye mama, or rather the wife of that person, that mkhulu. So kunesididiyelo esikhulu besenziwa esedipu, spiriti, all of these things put into one big jar. So abantu that normally would go there, because you go there every weekend, makuphuma lelo didiyelo idrum leyo, they all queued up, but ithatha scoop 2 liter and whatever, if you didn't bring. So then bacteria, whatever bacteria, so eat deep layer, but it's not like Jay's food, So yeah, that's saka, because when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. But inside my heart, I still had those reservations. So good, see, there's something I understand, So then the mkulu wasisa, all of us insebenzo yalapho, we go to isiganga. So isiganga sakhona is not very far, but you have to walk estradini with that chicken of yours, the humiliation, not necessarily humiliation, but like healing is discreet, good people. You don't want to be seen in the middle of a main road carrying chickens and eggs and walking to Eskangeni. So we walked that mile. Safika lapha Eskangeni, we walk in a line. That's what we are instructed. So it's about a walking distance nyana, because we cross nyana is something like a highway, and then we get to that open field. Then he instructs you to get your spot. So all of us got our spots. My mom got the spots. Everyone they got their spots, and you are instructed to break your eggs. Yeah, he instructs you to do what you need to do, and you do what you need to do. But the funny thing is that when you're breaking that, imagine as young as I am, but you've been instructed and told what to say. So he was telling me that everything, and at the time I'm still very young to comprehend. To a certain extent, sometimes I think with my work, or rather the gift or whatever, it has made me to actually open up, my spectrum, and understand that healing doesn't mean just because you're sangoma, you must be insensitive, you must not be empathetic, must not be sympathetic. At the same time, you must also relate to a person. Look at a person's age, look at a person's background, because I cannot be speaking to a 13, 14-year-old and telling them, what am I feeding that? We've made healing be more of kuyaloyiwa, kanti there's so many things ezibanga ingulo emuntwini, not necessarily ukuthi njalo moyo consulta uyotshela ukuthi uyathakatha. So that is what the mindset we've carried with us as people. Ukuthi whenever you go to consult, you need to know who's bewitching you. But at that point, I was doing because protocol observed, and my mom, chopped out her money because we bought our candles and wools and needles from a shop closer to that. So I don't want to disappoint my mom, but we did what we needed to do. And when we came back, I was instructed ukuyongena ibavu bathi nginesithunwa. So bathi nginesithunwa, so futhi ngiyongena ibhavu lelo, and I'll have to come there frequently. So you go into that room that smells like dead chicken and got feathers everywhere, and mind you, ijaridi lalo muntu lingcolile bathi abazi uthwele ngensila. So I got in little bhavu ngageza, bathi mina ngikhulume yonke into ngageza ngaloyo muthi. At that age, a traumatic experience. So nothing of ubungoma was picked up from me, nothing. Like, I was not told anything. So my mom was like, baby girl, so kaya, and that day we were instructed not to bath, and we went home, and tricky situation, I had to pass by my grand's place, and it was a bit of an awkward situation because, believe you me, and they would always tell me that if meet or something like that, because umlilo, or rather IPC umlilo, but so I was already imagining myself burning at the gate, So we got home, and Lamatulitala were instructed to drink from that and to bath from that. So between you and I, good people, mina angazi mhlambe, because of experience and maybe the type of people I walk with, I would not necessarily feed something to someone that I would not also consume myself. Imagine Upuza eat Jay's fruit every day of your life until the end. Back you bathing with that, you drink it's one concoction. So it was very ugly. I drank it, I think, for one, and I bathed with it gaiwani, and all the other days I was telling my mom I'm bathing with it, but I'm not. So now on the other hand, they gave her a wool to wear, but it is what it is. But because of the type of people who are, my mom ended up ayinqamula leyo nto leyo along with Wi-Fi get training leyo, and I'm not for izinto zamawulu nezokubosha emakhaleni, because singabantu asifani and amadlozi wethu awafani. So if someone does something along those lines to you, make sure that your ancestors approve of that, because uzothuspagi wool or whatever country has bopa, and your life is just one big mess. So we went, right? And it got to a point whereby my mom was like, Yazini, if we find a living church, all of this, we're gonna leave behind. we then samenya by my aunts. I call her my aunt because she is daughter to my mom's aunt, but she's my aunt. And she, she invited us at umsebenzi uyotwasa, and we went there understanding zero things of izangoma. We went there innocently to go and just rejoice. No gogo, and we got there. It was good times. Isangoma gugidwa gupuza, but I was very young at the time, but it was just drinking in spirit. And there was nothing, of the unusual. But I remember the environment was just not comfortable for me. But I think it was around 12, 1-ish, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I'm just crossing time. But leading to the next day, because Natsi, I don't remember, I think she was coming back, homecoming, something like that. Then, oh yes, my aunts bekagida nesinye isangoma ekuwumntwana wedlozi wakhe, and wangishaya ngeshoba elakhe. Ngaphakama mina angisho ngibona abantu, they acting like they mad, coming in your face, and I was like, okay, let me observe protocol. We are here, we've been watching you, okay, let's do this. And ngangena stikini with my Puma sneakers, I don't know what I was doing. I was like, oh my gosh, and I went to sit down, and the following day she was like, no, my sister have after ceremony. She was like, no, they were telling her when she's like, I don't remember anything. So she was like, no, if it might probably mean good to Namadus. And my mom was like, never, not in this lifetime. My daughter, never that. And then she instructed me to get ila bedim floor and pass it on that, and I listened. My mom was like, no, we're gonna get that. And then she also instructed me to also get it. So we got those, and ngabuyake, from that, and went on about with life as normal. And then ngaqala ke but I didn't even know what I was doing. I would honestly do that like once in a while, and once in a while I mean I wouldn't get the space, so I would do that primarily when I'm with my mom, and it would just be that way. So situations at Kaya then were not enabling, because my dad had another like a partner, and the partner fell pregnant, and I space basis ngase Kaya for me na and there was just a bit of an isolation for me, and there was just rejection for me. So I was like, no, let me go back and live with my mom, and I started living with my mom full time, and then I could be free in terms of wearing lilo by lilo when I needed to, but I didn't understand why. And at the same time, I was not comfortable with wearing lilo by lilo. And what happened was that I would go and I would see the reaction on their faces that, baby girl, you are now stepping on unfamiliar territory, but it's on you, So I went about, and then the dream started. The dream started having these out-of-body experiences. And my first encounter with Idlozi Lami, it was so crazy, because I had a dream. It seemed like a mine shaft or something like that. And I remember Ugogolo came straight up to me, and she was wearing this beautiful red and white, a garment, and like what they say, but she was wearing that, of which that garment I received, when I went to pick up my things, and she had lots of beads on imigago, on the hands, everywhere, a petty shoba. So in terms of that shoba, I have never found it, because izinto zabantu abadala were genuine. These days, these shobas that we have, or sometimes the case, it's things we buy. Like we buy from the Faraday market, we buy from the Muti market, we buy from, my, wherever. it's no longer genuine. Ngathi sekuthengiswa namathambo these days, but lelo shoba lelo engalibona ugogo wazanalo, it was it probably, if I were to scale it, it was, you know, along, you know, how can I put it, 12, 14 inch, and la phansi beyigobeka ngasi Brazilian, you know. It just was wavy, thick. It was just luscious, but it was, you know, heavy. It was full. I've never seen that anywhere in this lifetime, you know. So, but anyway, what happened was that when she passed on, they were discarded. But I'll get to that. Don't worry. So, I started having these experiences every day every day, and at that time I don't know what was happening. Every day and so the waking up was becoming very bad because being asalali, because I would feel this heavy presence in the bedroom, and it would also get below zero, like cold. Even my feet would be terribly cold, and I would not understand what is happening. It escalated to a point whereby in the dreams, and I would literally feel that experience of ugogo angene ngivuke idlozi aphume and ngiphaphame ngikhale ngithuke, and I was just troubled at that point in my life. And I would tell my mom that, Mama, this is what's happening, you know, this is what's happening, etc. And my mom was like, we need to go see my mom, you know. Maybe we need direction in terms of this. So we went to my mom's mom, and she was still alive at the time, you know. And we got there, and as soon as I walked into the living room, I recognized my Rosie's face on the pictures that were there. I didn't know. And I was like, Mama, that I'm dreaming of. Whew, the goosebumps. That day. I was like, my mom was like, are you sure? I was like, yes. My gogo called her sister. And you know, it was just one of those situations that they finally, it was that moment of finally we know where this is going. But there was that disbelief, but that support. But my grandmother was disappointed, and she looked at me and she was like, and she took impuphu, wathatha amanzi, wathatha isnefu, saya endlini ngaphandle la kuphahlelwa khona, and waphahla ugogo, waphahla wakhuluma druki ngwana usantsane munya hare hane gore o mo fa mmereko, tloela ngwana a fetse sekolo, tloela ngwana a bena le bophelo ba hae, tloela ngwana o ska etsa dilo tse blah 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 blah. And ngahamba, and I went back, you know. It's so funny because I'm relating to my Lucy right now, and the situation is just crazy because it's one of those experiences we'll never let go of. That was the first time experiences. Oh, the goosebumps I'm feeling. And at that time, I received comfort that, oh, okay, this girl must just leave me alone, you know. And I went home. My mom was like, no, because I'm feeling like they triggering you. And she repeated that statement like, we will leave all of this behind us, start a new chapter. Because I'm not having umdana matwasa be sangoma. You're still young. I still want a life for you. I still want you to enjoy your youth. I want you to live your dreams, you know. I was like, yes, mom, and yes, mama, you know. And my mom ended up meeting a colleague of hers, Ulerato. I don't know what happened to that lady, but she's the one that introduced my mom to Christ Embassy. And we didn't know that it was Christ Embassy, but she was like, no, let me invite you to church, etc., etc. Remember, Ekaya, there were so many things that were happening spiritually. So when my mom heard something like this, we actually jumped at the opportunity. So I remember she invited us. It was an all-night prayer. So we went there, and Satandaza that night, we prayed. My mom was like, yo, You know, I don't know what was happening, but when you were at church, something was literally banging and scratching the door la endlini. And she says, you know what, thank God for those prayers, because I feel like we're free. Whatever spirit that was captivating us la endlini, it was that, because there was so much spiritual attacks like Kaya. Things would go missing. Ukudla bekuphela. My mom would buy groceries on the 25th, but by the 29th, asinanix endlini. Imali beyilahleka. My mom would be livid. As a shy, acabanga ukuthi we are taking her money. Kanti izinto ziyanyamalala la endlini because of things that were there. Bongeke uhlale la ekhaya kuyi-1. It was just not a healthy environment. So I came back, and that evening I gave my life to Christ again. And this time I gave my life to Christ with meaning. And I was led to Christ by Pastor Pule at Christ Embassy Davidson. And that very night I was filled with the Holy Spirit. And it was like, he was like, open your mouth. Utter the utterances of the Spirit. Ha bokavatia gedala spila gates ha bazitanga. Baraba shatelo shandala baya kendelebosa. Rekebonda la baya kaya basasa. Oya mashendele kere. And I was filled. I was now part of the church. And because I am umntwana othanda ukucula, even from esikolweni, I gave myself to the choir. And again, now being part of the worship team, because previously to that, ugokwami watrya ukuthi angise esontweni lakhe eSt Paul, and ngaya lapho honestly bengezwa nix, umfundisi was preaching but I was not hearing anything. But the first time in my life the Bible was read to me and I could relate, I could understand, I could fit in, and there was no uniform. I just felt free. I could wear my stilettos. That time bengisafaka ihilengaga engeni ikundwane ngaphansi hayi manje njengoba sesiphethwe amadolo ngenxa yabogogo. And I gave myself to the church. I worked for the church. Ngathi mangibona Rhapsody of Free Life because I got it on the same night. It was so crazy. After that all night, I got home, I showed my mom, Mama naile ncwadi, and she was like, this was a sign, and we're excited because finally we're gonna find refugee, sisiraiti. Then we started attending church and we started growing spiritually. We started also, attending cell groups, and everything in between. And I loved being in the choir. I loved singing because every time I would minister, I just felt my spirit leave my body, and my voice became so angelic and so melodic. I'm trying to think of a song that would stand out for me because you are holy, oh so holy. Hey, you are holy, oh so holy. Come on now. Hey, what a miracle and honor to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are mighty, oh so mighty. You are mighty, oh so mighty. What a privilege and honor to worship at your throne, to be called unto your presence as your own. Okay. I got carried away there, but because it's something I love doing. I love to sing. I honestly thought my voice was just gone because after my tonsillitis, situation. But yeah, right now I'm just singing so I could relate to you. But it was deep, I would, right now I'm singing, I'm backing myself because I can hear the band behind me, I can hear the church backing me. But it was when I started seeing things in church, I started getting dreams. I would tell my pastor, this is what I'm dreaming about. So yeah, like, no, my sister, this is a wah. And funny thing, we went to the headquarters of the church. I remember it was close to the Christmas party, and there was a girl wafuga madluzi right there at Christ Embassy Randburg. The treatment that she received from the church generally, they were starting out as those mendlele zitandra, and it was just crazy, And I remember looking at her like, I don't want to go through that. So we attended the church, carried on, and also my faith grew as a person. And I was also active. I've been attempted trying to be part of Love Set, but at the time it declined. I didn't understand why I was upset. I feel like Pastor declined me of opportunities because it has a TV station, the church, and I didn't qualify. I sent in my tape and I would have been selected. I was selected and my partner pushed someone else's tape forward. So I understand I was gonna work for that church, be part of that church, be stuck in the church. Meanwhile, my job, or rather my purpose, was bigger. It was bigger. So I was Sister Dimpo for the longest time, and I was very active. All night prayers, I was there. Gagilo type, yoktanda to the all night. You understand that? And I was praying at Kaya, listening to the likes of TV Joshua, meditating on Pastor Chris's everything. Gangi loyal girl, the word was just spewing from the pores. While I was waiting for my transport going to school, the word of God was just exuding from me. All those suicidal things and everything in between started slowly dissipating. The dreams of Amadlozi started dissipating, but now that I was getting I started decreasing. I don't know if I'm using started decreasing as you get carried away, and I started now, my dreams instead were more of a prophetic nature, or etc. That's what they aligned them as in the church. I would dream of spirits because we moved from the building that we previously used to a new one, and when we moved to that new one, nga figured out in my dream telling me that we should leave that space. It's her space. And I told my pastor, and he was like, thank you, Sister Dimpo, we'll do something about it, we need to pray. And that's when I saba my toilet. You must know when I start fearing the toilets, guys, of your place, that something is wrong. Then I just, until one day we were having, and what was this? It was Sunday, what? Miracle Sunday or something, Power Sunday or something like that. And I was ministering. Sister Dimpo, can you lead a song? You are Alpha. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, our Lord. You are worthy. We give you all. The choir was backing me. If you watched Walking Dead or something along those lines, I saw each of the choir members looking like that. Oh, their glory. And they looked like that for I think that thing lasted about 3 minutes. And after I finished singing, I came and sat down and I looked around me. What is happening? I'm not ready. And I did not understand. I told my mom, I told my aunt, and my mom was like, hey, maybe you're being shown things, And I was just, troubled by that. Why would I see by all these people? We're supposed to be surrounded by the Holy Spirit. But why am I now seeing this? Why am I now seeing this? And I kept it to myself, and I kept on churching, And I now proceeded to move to a new school, which was it High School, because the Christian church was no longer, doing the things that we need to do. Funny enough, the school I was in was teaching us a grade 12 syllabus while I was in grade 10. So it was just crazy times. Don't ask me. So they took me to a government school, which was not far from that. And that's when I completed most of my schooling. And ngaqeda isikolo, but it was just hell because I was active in the church but not as active anymore because now these things are triggering me, etc. Ngaqeda isikolo, dololo amandlozi dololo ini. And I remember even studying for my grade 12 was hell. It was hell. It was hell, but I pulled through because in that exam room, because I could literally hear words being whispered. At that time, I told my mom that Pastor Greece helped me push through my exam. Little did I know that, baby girl, and looking back right now, it's always been Amandozwami. They've always been patient with me. And ekhaya then by the time in PTT, from that house kagogo ibigcwele, everyone bese kashonile, and gangasahlali khona vele. And kwekusekunzima because right now only my dad and my uncle are left from that huge family, because literally every year a coffin would iphume endlini, sometimes 2 in a year, and lento leyo ngayiphupha ngisemncane. Even before all of these, situations as in Nashville and all of that, I was dreaming of my aunt coming out of a house opposite La Gogo. And when she was coming out, she was wearing different outfits. But every time she was coming out, she was ushering, or rather she was behind her big puma coffin amaningi. And that dream tormented me because it recurred in my life for the longest time. It recurred in my longest time. But in terms of the dreams as amanzi, they didn't stop totally. They would come and go. And I would all the time dream of the dark beauty. Angry, always angry. And sometimes, I would be stuck in the mall and it would flood and joy, and nginciphisa nje inyawo because vele ngangifundela le, and going to Benoni was now no longer as frequent as I would have hoped. So I completed my school and I needed to now decide where it is I'm going with life, and I took a gap year, and unfortunately for me, situations happened within the gap year that I had to actually take the gap year. I was being rejected. I was not sure what I really wanted to do because when I got my results. So I passed my matric, qualifying me to study for a bachelor's degree. I was doing physical sciences, I was doing life sciences, all that compilation, geography. That was me. I was that girl. So I qualified for a bachelor's, but I was trying to figure out, how what is it? Is it an NQF or something like that? I'm not sure. App score or something like that. I was trying to apply at so many institutions, but it was just not telling up. I don't know why. And I tried, Mediclinic to do nursing. I tried, to study law at UJ until I reached a point. I met this guy and he was so nice. He was so for me education. And he encouraged me to study at UNISA, and I was like, no, you can do this, it's not that bad, because I was viewing UNISA in a wrong light. And then I decided to enroll at the University of South Africa to study teaching. So it was very beautiful because my family rooted for me. They were proud of me that, I'm the first Ekaya to complete their schooling, like to reach matric and actually passed. Majority of time they would just slid by grade 11, grade 12, grade 11, grade 10, and not even. So to set foot at university, to have a student card, esibhale MD Mvundla, it like blew the family away, you know. I was just, it was that my brother was proud, my mom was proud, my dad was proud, I was nje balibeka lelo phepha lelo ngaphuma kulo for I think forever. And I was also proud myself. So I then later on decided, now let me pack, you know, prepare ngiyohlala in Pretoria. That is when I now moved to Pretoria. And you know, I was ready for change. I also needed change in scenery. I was just tired of the environment, you know, that was going on around me. And I just felt that, you know what, let me just start over. You know, I need a new life, you know. Unfortunately, the guy that introduced me to Unisa, the relationship didn't last, you know, due to X, Y, and Z. So I met this other person that I was dating, and yeah, and life carried on, you know, and I moved to Pretoria, and I was excited, you know, to actually be alone, independent. I was not ready, you know, because I remember the first day they woke me into that res, I was just you know, but deep down it's like but either way, you know, I just was not ready. So my mom and dad, my brother, and my nephew were the actually people that accompanied me, and ngafika at res, and little did I know that it was the beginning of a long story. Oh well, before I indulge further, see you on part 3 of my story of my spiritual journey. Do leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and also click on your notifications button so you don't miss out on all the juice and the scoop. So thank you so much for also viewing this video. I really appreciate the feedback, especially I've been getting in relation to the stories that I've been sharing. So this is just an eye view, or rather spiritual view, into my journey, what I experienced, what I've been through. So you are not alone. So see you very soon. I am the advocate of Idlozi, and I will definitely see you later.